2022 report has been circulated. I trust that members have had the opportunity to look over it. We'll hear from the licensing team who will present the report, and we have a statement from the applicant today, which is going to be read out, is it? Are we going to, or are we just assume that everybody's read it? Okay. Yeah, I've certainly had it and had a look. Okay. In that case, it's over to licensing to present the report.
Thank you, Chair. Just in brief, this is an application for authority to perform performance of hypnotism under the Hypnotism Act 1952, and you're invited to consider the application today. The papers you've been provided with contain all of the information that's been provided to us, including a copy of a submission from the applicant who can't attend today, and that was circulated on Friday. The recommendations are outlined at page 1 for you to consider, and that concludes an outline of the report.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, members have the opportunity to ask any questions of the licensing team on the contents of the report or the statement that was just made. Councillor Brett.
Thank you, Chair. This is quite a random licensing hearing that we've had. We're one of the few councils that still have this in. Is it being our licensing rules being reviewed to see any more anomalies such as this can be taken out rather than them having to come here?
So we are reviewing the licensing act policy. We're currently carrying out that piece of work, and the report does make reference to the fact that we will consider that as part of that. I think one of the difficulties is an anomaly. This has come about because we've had an application, and certainly for as long as I've been here, we've not had an application before now. So it's a difficult one, really. We will review the licensing act policy. We're doing that piece of work at the moment. That's nearly completed, and of course we'll reflect today's decision in the report when we bring it forward.
Thank you. Councillor Cowan.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to ask, just to clarify, we're asked to consider the application that's before us today. I'm just wanting to clarify the authority that we've got to grant the application. If our policy, if our policy in Bolton stands currently that we don't allow, there's a blanket ban on hypnotism performances, do we have sufficient authority as things stand before policy's changed to grant the application that's before us today? Thank you.
As the Licensing Act Committee, you can go outside of policy on decisions put before you, so it would be for your consideration today to decide whether you thought that was appropriate. But yes, you have the powers to do that as the Licensing Act Committee.
Thank you. Councillor Chadwick.
Patricia, can I ask? There was an article in this morning's Bolton News, and they highlighted it's 42 years since we last had a similar performance in Bolton. Is that correct? And are there any, can you explain why it's been 42 years? Is it because we've not had anybody in that period, or what? I'm just curious.
So the original legislation from 1982 was public entertainment licensing. That was replaced by the 2003 Act, and in 1982 the authority decided it wouldn't have hypnotism at premises that it licensed for public entertainment. When we moved to the Licensing Act 2003 in 2005, some of those elements rolled over. So the public entertainment licensing side rolled over into that legislation. I've been here since '96. I certainly haven't dealt with an application for hypnotism prior to this. I know there is a report that there was a performance in a pub, I think, at some point. We certainly don't have any information in relation to that. We're aware, obviously, that there was a performance last year. That's outlined in the report, and that was a misunderstanding under this particular piece of legislation that an application for authority should have been made to us at that point. But I'm not aware of any prior to this that have been brought to the attention of the council.
If I may, just to make sure I understand what you're telling me to be correct, are we saying that there was a performance last year and it got through because for some reason, I'm not proposing blame to anybody, it got through and it took place without authorisation? Is that correct, or am I wrong?
Yeah, it's covered in the report, actually. It talks about page 3 at number 2.5, number 5, it says the reason for the delay in making the application, Mr. Temple states, is due to his previous performance on the 7th of October 2022, requiring nothing further. This was confirmed, he states, by the previous manager at the Albert Halls. The current manager confirmed no complaints have been documented following that performance. It certainly wasn't brought to our attention. We weren't asked to comment on it. It was done in-house with the Albert Halls and the performance went ahead.
Thank you, Patricia. That clarifies in my mind that it wasn't because of some mistake by line licensing. It was somebody else. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I'd like to thank Mr. Temple for his very thorough statement that he's made, referencing relevant parts of the Acts and relevant parts of Bolton Council policy. I'm sorry that you went to so much trouble or had to go to so much trouble. There was a book that I was bought as a wrap-up for Christmas a few years ago called The Strange Laws of Old England, and I feel like this regulation that has been brought in Bolton Council more than 40 years ago is one could qualify and perhaps make it in a subsequent edition. The first question that I asked when I was told that this meeting was to be held today was, can we repeal whatever regulation it is that has made us come together on this Wednesday afternoon? Because it seems a rather dated and arcane regulation, and I hope that we do not have to meet to consider Hypnotist Act again, and we are able to rewrite the policy. And if that doesn't give an indication of what I'm going to do next, I will make it clear. I move that we grant the application, and I invite somebody to second it.
Go on. Well said.
Is that to speak, Councillor Newall, or to second?
I wanted to speak up, but I will second it. Yeah, I'd like
Good
to
woman, thank you.
I just want to say, I find there's something about this that's very quirky and old-fashioned, isn't it? That in 1952, hypnotism, they talk about mesmerism as well. It was sort of almost dark arts, wasn't it? That you had to be controlled and it had to be looked at very, very carefully. Whereas now, hypnotism really is just part of mainstream entertainment, isn't it? I know other people would say it's much more than that, but from our point of view, hypnotism, that's what it is. It's a form of entertainment.
Well said.
So
when it's
I
conducted
agree
safely.
that, although this kind of legislation has no place in modern life, there's something, I don't know, perhaps it's because I'm old, there's something nice to see these old-fashioned laws that we used to have. Do you agree with me, Councillor Chadwick? So yes, I'd like to
Intelligent, forward-thinking councillors. Well done, Bolton Council.
Anybody else wish to speak? No. All right. So we have a proposal moved and seconded. Do we have to ask licensing to leave the room on this?
No, it's a public meeting.
Fine. Okay. So you can stay where you are. Ian, can you take the recording vote, please?
Yes, moved by Councillor Fielding, seconded by Councillor Newton to grant the authorisation, adding the model conditions that are attached at Appendix 1. Is that be happy to do?
Yeah.
Yes, we're more than happy to abide by the 1952 Hypnotism Act, 1989 and 1996 updated model conditions, and provide a full written risk assessment and insurance, as Robert Temple already has done as a member of the professional organisation of stage hypnotists. Details that link above or below this video.
Seconded. The reason is to grant the application. I'll set out the report. For, against, abstain, Councillor Chadwick. Councillor Fielding. 4. Councillor Amjad Khan. 4. Councillor Cohen. 4. Councillor Grant. 4. Councillor Newall. That's carried.
Okay. So the
Thank you, you intelligent, forward-thinking Bolton councillors.
Thank you very much. Of course, those we
History is made by Robert Temple.